Oh, 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 oh. Edges late, hoop swing, lip gloss and a laugh. I walking like Sunday, but I've been through some wrath. They see soft, see sweet, figure I'm easy to bend. They don't see me in the mirror trying to hold my own head. Don't let my smile fool you. I've been breaking.
Uh, she's her devices ain't connected. What's going on, everybody? Give me just a second. I'm trying to get these shares out. Help me like and share. Welcome to the show. Uh, it's a lot going on. Well, no, we're gonna get to most of it, but let me see if I can do this here and get the show shared out.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You sound low. You sound so low.
Yeah, most of that stuff is on your end,
Yeah, probably is. Okay.
right? So
You know what?
you gotta. I could. The echo is. Never mind.
Oh, here we go with the echo. Hold up. Let me put on my headset. Okay, let me take the Bluetooth off.
Let's that one. Uh,
Okay, can you hear me?
yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you. Of
me?
course, you can hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear you. Sound far, far away. Oh boy. Let's see here. I can barely hear you. Talk, keep talking.
You know what?
There it
Uh,
goes.
yeah. Is it coming through your headphones?
Yeah, but it's like faintly coming through my headphones.
You gotta turn up the volume on your end.
Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn up the volume on your end.
I can still
Uh,
barely. Let me close my door. Hold up.
you should always be able to adjust the volume on your headphones, man.
Okay, I see y'all. Bye. Bye bye. For some reason, the dogs like to come in and let me know they came back from being outside. All right.
Okay.
So you guys, sorry for the slow. What's the name? Um. So look, I still hear echo, and I turned off my Bluetooth.
No, now you hear the echo, which
Yeah.
it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
I try to fight
So
it.
the echo is on my end.
Right. So
Okay.
you're the only one that can hear the echo. We can check and see. But
Okay.
I just shared
All
it
right.
out, so we gotta give it a couple minutes.
Okay. Go ahead and finish talking. Let me go get my I need to go get my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, folks. I don't really know what to tell you, other than just keep your head on the swivel, cause they let the games begin, as they like to say, and they are playing games. We told y'all last week they're playing in y'all face, and this week we can prove it. Anytime we do tell y'all something, we usually prove it first before we say it. But Yeah, if this is beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it may be some type of uh minor thing to other folks, but uh to the people that was lied to, they might think it's a bigger deal. You know what I mean? Uh let's see. Okay, here we go. Put it in here. Yeah, just a second. I'm trying to get everything in line.
Hey, can we talk about the ordinance?
Um, you know, we got the copy of it. Wait.
I
Let's
think
let's make that the let's wait. Let's
okay.
we can talk about it tonight. That's not the problem. But I want to wait till
We get
how many
yeah.
people watching. Yeah, I'm when we get to 10 people watching or 7 8 people watching, then we'll bust that part out. We can't talk about Alexandria's rates and how they're not the lowest in the state.
Yes, we can definitely talk about that. We definitely could. Let me show you
I know
guys
y'all did
that.
a
Give
lot
me
of
a
research
second.
around that.
Let me let me
Uh-huh.
let me show you guys something on that.
This lady said I made the dean's list and my granny told everyone I was the dean of my college because we have a problem understanding. Never mind. And this is just a message. If y'all don't like black people, leave black people alone. We is not bothering y'all. We really are. If you mad at us laughing at not, and we not laughing at y'all pain, we laughing at y'all stupidity. If you mad at us laughing at y'all stupidity, then stop being stupid. Stop doing stupid shit. Stop saying stupid things. You can't get mad when somebody says something stupid that you said is stupid. They're just stating the obvious. Damn, leave black folks alone. Yeah, I think this stuff is all fun and games. Somebody gonna get their ass whooped. I'm not sure if that's what it's gonna take, but I hope not. Hold on. I do have something I want to show y'all. Watch this. Check this out. Share screen.
Brutality, all kind of stuff. 20 officers, including the police chief in Mississippi, was arrested recently for drugs, drug dealing, brutality, all kind of stuff. So the feds came through and they did their investigation and they found out that all them boys were dirty. They came and locked all of them up at one time.
Locked all of them?
Yeah. 20.
That's in Mississippi, right? That's in Mississippi. This is a little known factoid.
Bob has no idea that he has had sex with a woman. Bob has.
Let me preface this. No, I don't want to play that one. So come to find out, everybody's favorite daytime uncle, Bob Barker, racist as hell. Couldn't stand black people. Can't stand him. Can't stand him. Well, he can stand him now because he's dead.
Can't disagree with you. I mean, it's hilarious. I think this is the most corrupt presidency in U.S. history with the money they are raking in with the NFTs and the meme coin. I mean, it is so blatant. It's right in front of our eyes. And the funny thing about I don't care as long as we get a wall and mass deportations. If I have not made that clear, I don't care about anything but saving the country. Can't disagree.
Now, I want to say this. You guys are under the illusion that these people have some sort of, hold on, let me go full screen. Some sort of conscience, hey, Ms. Bell, that these people have some sort of conscience that is being weighed down by their decision to vote for Trump. As you just clearly saw, them people do not care about the laws that Trump breaks, about the people that he offends. They don't care about any of it. Hey, Miss Susie, Miss Susie, I'm gonna need you to when we talk to you on the back end, because I don't know where Miss Agnes is at. Somebody said the aliens came and kidnapped her. Well, I don't know if they mean the illegal aliens or they talking about the space aliens. But either way it goes, I need to see Miss Agnes, at least talk to her. So we'll talk on the back end. But yeah, these white folks do not. Oh, she here asleep. Oh, okay. You tell her we love her. I don't want you to tell her that we said hi. You tell her we love her. And these white folks said literally they do not listen to what she said. This is Ann Coulter, if you guys don't know who that is. But listen to what she says.
Hilarious. I think this is the most corrupt presidency in U.S. history. with the money they are raking in with the NFTs and the meme coin. I mean, it is so blatant. It's right in front of our eyes. And the funny thing about I don't care as long as we get a wall and mass deportations. If I have not made that clear, I don't care about anything but saving the country. Can't
these people have this alter? Hey, Miss Battles. Hey, I see everybody. Hey, Miss Susan. Let me see Miss Cynthia. Hey, Miss Shamir. So as you can see, these people don't care. Why are y'all still trying to appeal to people that literally don't care? You know, if there was ever a moment in time where those people, and I'm talking about those mag rats, if those mag rats ever were to feel any type of shame, it would have happened a long time ago. Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. Yeah, no, they don't have any intentions. This is all about racism. This is all about racism. MAGA, this whole thing, this whole replacement theory and all these others, this is all about MAGA. And they're using celebrities to push the agenda, right? Because okay, let's do this.
Democrats don't care about black people, and they don't care about people. They don't care about people of color, and the Republicans do, and that's the misconception.
And you know what? I agree with you 100%.
Thank you,
people don't know that the Democrats are the party of the KKK.
Yeah.
People don't know that the Republicans are the party that freed the slaves.
If any of your information is coming from 200 years ago, then you might want to reevaluate the way you think. Now, we already know these are two idiots driving in the car speaking together when one has about 40 children by 40 women and the other one has a tattoo that stretches across her forehead. And the same person promoting, well, you can be a slut. That's cool. Yeah, no, I wouldn't take advice from these people. She's the same woman that uses black men as a showcase. I'm good. I'm good on that. Now, you also need to ask yourself, who does the KKK support? And we could just end the conversation there. When you realize who the KKK supports, then you know where you shouldn't be, honestly. And as a black person, if I had to vote with the KKK or people who support billionaires, I wouldn't vote with them. This doesn't mean that Democrats are less anti-black or less racist than Republicans. No, one hides it better than the other. But if you don't understand this concept completely, you shouldn't be having this conversation at all, because it's just two ill-informed people having a conversation.
Democrats.
So as you can see, the rollout is on, and I feel like there's this attempt to appeal to black folks all of a sudden, like they want. Oh, oops. Hold on. Like they want to hate us so bad. They want to hate us so bad. They want to misuse us. They want to treat us bad. They want to disrespect us. But then they want our affection. They want our attention. They want our approval. What the fuck is going on? So let me guess. It has Democrats, KKK, Republican K. Listen, I've been to several Klan rallies, right? Some of them right up there at City Hall. And let me tell you something. When everybody puts those hoods on, there's no political affiliation. You can't tell who's a donkey and who's an elephant when the masks come down.
Exactly.
I don't know what
exactly. Hey, so look, are you finished? I wanted to tell you I found that information about the Clico. The Clico in the comparison.
Oh no, we got 10 people in here now. So
Okay.
we don't even need your topic. We could just jump straight into the real shit. No, I'm just playing.
Huh? Forget you.
No, it's,
hey, look.
The population in our little town of UCN jumped up while you were gone. Download Go Vote app. There you go. They're asking for our vote, please. Okay. Oh, please check your status. That's right, Miss Gloria.
Yes, that's right.
Y'all
that's
go download, right. Go vote, and check your status. Make sure you're registered to vote. But
that's
no,
right.
I was just joking.
Exactly.
Susie's in here. Did you hear? Susie's in here.
Yeah, I spoke to Miss Agnes this past weekend. Not this last week. I got a chance to speak to her. We had a good conversation.
She said she's asleep right now.
Yeah, I had spoke to her. I forgot to tell you guys.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah. So what I was gonna say. So okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. Who has the best rate? When it comes to this Clico situation. I mean this rates per kilowatt situation. And you guys know you have been lied to over and over again by your mayor that they have the best in the state. And we know that is not true because we have proof that it's not true. Now, I'm going to put on the screen the proof that it's not true. Okay. So let me know that you guys can see this. Can you see this?
Yeah,
I know
it could be seen.
Okay. So as you see right here, it says as of 2025, Clico power charges approximately 12.90 cents per kilowatt hour for residential service in Alexandria area. Slightly lower than the city of Alexandria's municipal utility rate of roughly 13.11 cents per hour, kilowatt hour. These rates are above the Louisiana state average of roughly 11.93 cents per kilowatt hour.
So
now,
I just want to point this out. Mm-hmm. You do realize that a lot of the stuff that Jock gets up there and lies about, right? All it takes is a quick Google search.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And you guys probably don't know this, but we pulled a couple of bills. A couple of bills were given to us and we went through them. I even put mine on the screen in our chat. And we pay 11 cents per hour out where I live at for Clico. And somebody else who put their AUS bill up, they're paying 14.76 per kilowatt hour. So we in 2026, so it went up some, but we pay here. Ours is 11 cents per kilowatt hour for Clico. So there's no way you're telling us that they pay lower.
When did he say that?
Huh?
Well, he says it all the time.
He says it all the time. Whenever anybody says anything about Restore, anytime you say anything about how high the utility bill is, that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. And it's not true. It's proven. And like Tavares just said, all you got to do is do a Google search. That's a Google search. You see G up here? So you guys, it's important. You know, everybody wants us to tell the truth and have receipts. Well, y'all should do the same thing with him, because according to this, he's been lying to y'all about how much you're paying for the City of Alexandria utilities per kilowatt hour. It's plain as day. And it explains down at the bottom. The City of Alexandria operates its own municipal electric system, while CLECO operates as a separate provider in the surrounding area. And keep in mind, you guys, this too. You guys sit on a grid. For some crazy reason, they bought into you guys being a co-op on the MISO grid. And this is where it hurts you guys at. Because you guys sit on that MISO grid, you have the power and the opportunity to sell your energy. That could be a plus. The only thing is you can't sell it unless MISO say you can sell it. So in return, before you even sell it, you have to be able to power up GG Hunter and buy you coal, which you're paying for too. So it costs more and it takes more to power them up to create energy in order for you to sell it than not. And because of that, when it comes to picking to sell energy off the grid, Alexandria is not chosen. Because it takes up too much in order to do it. So this is why you guys don't benefit being with MISO. I mean, if you're trying to be in the business of selling and buying energy, if you want to say it that way, being with MISO is not benefiting you guys because you're not bringing any revenue in extra from the idea that you sit on that grid with MISO. It doesn't benefit you guys. And the ideal that the power they have over the utilities is another thing that doesn't benefit you guys, because they don't have a set way of estimating your bill. When they want to not show up at your house and read your meter, they can guesstimate your bill. They have it in writing that they can guesstimate your bill. And there's a lot of other places do that too. But it doesn't benefit the citizens or the quote unquote ratepayers if they can guesstimate your bill. So when you get a low utility bill one month, next month you get a high utility bill, that's because lots of times it's not necessarily that you've used more power. It could be that they just didn't come out and they just guesstimated from the last time you paid. Because they have the power to guesstimate your bill. One thing about CLECO can't do that.
One thing about CLECO is majority of CLECO's customer base have smart meters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they don't.
And I don't understand why Jock Roy and this administration have been so reluctant to provide those smart meters to all those ratepayers. Because
go ahead.
I mean, the smart meters, don't they cut down on error, right? On human error.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Yeah.
Right. They cut down on personnel issues, because you don't need nobody to go out and read a smart meter.
Mm-hmm. And
it does read it from wherever they're at headquarters. Exactly. Or you can read it from anywhere that you can read it from anywhere.
Yeah. And another thing too, you can access. you have access to it too, to see how you can compare how you're using your energy that way too. Instead of waiting for a
That's
monthly bill,
right.
you can go into the app and actually see how you're measuring your energy, so you'll know where to cut back at.
So I'm
And
I'm
that's the same.
located in and I'm located in this in a place that's a little bit more advanced than what we're talking about right now, right?
Hmm.
Um so I can literally log into my online account for my utility bill, and I can see how much I owe at this very second,
Hmm. Right up to date,
right up to the very minute,
real time.
because the monitoring system allows me to see that
Yeah,
to the very down to the it basically is my meter on the screen.
yeah.
Well, in Alaska they have smart meters. I don't know. Not in this damn Alaska.
Who said that?
Yeah, you know, I lived in Alaska for 11 years, and they didn't have smart meters. They weren't out then, but all right, Chip, get to your point. Let's wrap this up.
We got you. Look, we got you.
Yeah, we got you. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Um,
That's funny.
well, Mr. Porter get back. We'll let him chime in on this, and then we'll move on. Y'all make sure y'all like it. Y'all hit the heart button. Make sure you hit the turbo button on what other platform we watching. Damn, we all over the place tonight. On my YouTube channels. Yeah, make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. As we do this weekly, uh, 3 times a week. We try to at least Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, starting at 8:30 p.m. until we just provide the locals of our town, which is Alexandria, Louisiana. Uh, Provide them with the news that they can use in regards to their local news. So uh we do have this as an official word. Jock Roy does consistently lie about the rates uh in Alexandria and the utility rates. So there's that. And all it took was a simple Google search.
And that's
That's
why
it.
we
That's all it
encourage
took.
you guys to always do your research.
Oh yeah, you know why? That's why.
Hmm. Yep.
That's why. Uh oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, smart meters. So most of the rest of the world of the United States has smart meters. Alexandria has relied on human interaction, because if you do it, you can say it was a mistake and screw people. Like, oh, my bad, it was just a mistake. Even though you paid $600 on your utility bill and it was only $200, we can't give you a refund, but we can give you a credit, and they keep your money.
Yep.
The only places that are more racist than Louisiana is like Arkansas and fucking Kansas. Even the people over there in Indiana have the nerve to be racist. Look at all the racism in America.
Hmm.
Look at all the racism. Texas, Louisiana, the entire South. The entire South. Florida, not so much. South Carolina, not so much. Virginia, not so much. Looks like Pennsylvania, not so much. Wisconsin, not so much. North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska, not so much. Damn, I can recognize the states by their shape. Huh. Anyway, Look at this. Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas. This is an unholy trifecta right here. What is this? What do they got going on? And why is Louisiana so involved in it? Like Louisiana is amongst the most racist places, but just not the most racist place. Although I listen, I will argue with that for a while because I do not believe that. And if you get cut off, they charge you a reconnect fee on the next bill, even if it's an error on their part.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. That's what we're talking about, right? Oh, there goes Mr. Porter. So that's the things that we're looking at.
Hey, I got a question. Good evening, Mr. Porter. You guys, Mr. Porter, is this too early for us to show the video?
No. Whenever you want to show the video, we have approval from the filmmaker. So,
okay.
Yeah. Now it is an hour and a half, so
okay.
It just depends.
We'll have to
I've received quite a few, about 4 inquiries of people wanting to be able to see the video, the documentary. So so it's up to you because
I haven't already.
Maybe we should chop it up and into segments and break it down, and then that way everybody can get a good full understanding of the video and get those people to watch that wanted to see it.
Yeah, but when would you do that? Because
you say when?
Because I would like to give folks some notice.
Yeah, notice before you do it.
Let's block out next week.
No, I was thinking this week, not next week.
Yeah, I was thinking next week. That way that they'll have a chance because it's Monday now. But if
so you got Wednesday and Friday.
And we
and it's the holiday. You got to remember it's Easter.
It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's actually a little longer than an hour and a half. But
all right, yeah, we can break down 30 minutes per show. Yeah, and do
no, because you really don't want to do it that way. You want to watch the whole thing because you don't want people coming in that didn't see the first half. You want to do the whole thing in one sitting. It's not hard to do. Everybody's not attention span as short as yours.
Well, I mean, it's different when you're in person versus when you're on the internet.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like I was saying.
Would you like to do it Wednesday and we advertise?
Yeah, we can do.
I think Wednesday is great.
I think Wednesday would be working.
Yeah, because Good Friday's gonna be busy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. Well, if we can advertise it, and I'll let these other folks know. That way, they'll be able to tune in on Wednesday.
Okay.
What time would we get started on Wednesday?
On Wednesday. Ooh, I got my class on Wednesday. We could start. I'd have to shorten our class. We could start at 8. I guess we could start at 8 instead of 8:30.
Oh, okay.
So
well, if 8:30 is your normal time, would you like to just stick with that?
Okay, I thought. Okay, that'll work.
Because it would be over by about 10 o'clock.
About 10 o'clock, yeah.
And then the ones that would like to stick around for a discussion,
They
so I guess that would be almost the same amount of time we do on a regular show, right?
Yeah, we talk about 3 or 4 hours.
And that way you don't have to cut your class short.
Yeah, that's true. So I queued it up to see if it worked, and it worked. Actually, you can't see it's on the screen, but it's on my screen right now.
Oh,
so
great.
We know that, that we can pull it up.
And the sound would come through to our end?
Hold up. We're gonna share. We're gonna check it. Let me check it. Can you hear it?
No, I cannot.
Anybody else can
No.
hear it?
No.
Okay. So I would have to use my Bluetooth because it's in my ear. I can hear it loud and clear. Let me do it. Let me rephrase it. Let me see if I rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. I mean, refresh it. Hold on.
Shamir, did you get a chance to see it?
Not yet.
Okay. But I've had 4 requests from persons who attended the documentary, and they would like to be able to see it again.
Okay, give
That's
me a second
great.
now. Okay, hold up. Let me see something. So y'all still can't hear it?
No,
No.
cannot
Hear
hear it.
you though. Just
You
you.
can hear
Don't do
me, but
that.
you can't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so I would have to, okay, so let me do this. Let me turn back on my Bluetooth. Can you see it on the screen?
Not yet.
No.
Hold up. Give me a second. It's sharing. Stop sharing for a minute and then go back and share.
He asked what time, if I knew what time the bus
Okay,
stop
we
was.
can see it in here now.
Okay, that's what it was. I had to go back in and share
Yes,
it
sir.
again.
Where is he?
Sitting at the table over there, the defendant.
And when you looked down to your watch, what happened then?
Then I proceeded to look up as he pulled out a gun from behind. He had the gun to my face. I had a St. Christopher medallion that I had
Okay.
since I was born,
So-
and he ripped it off my neck. And then
We
he
can
had
do
me
it
lay
Wednesday.
on the ground
There we go.
and took my
I
bag.
had to make sure I
And when
see
he
it too.
approached you the first time, you looked right in his eyes.
Yes, sir.
Would
Are
you
you
ever forget
able
Jermaine
to
Hudson's
expand
face?
that?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
You don't forget something like
Yeah,
that.
she can expand it.
What
Yeah.
went through your mind when he put that gun up to
I
your
just
head?
did.
She'll just have to
Everything.
move like
The
the
past 19 years
comments
of my
and move
life,
our pictures
basically
Yeah.
to
my
make it.
dad.
Yeah.
And are you 100% certain that this man right here
Give it a
put a
second.
gun to your head and robbed you?
110% certain.
Thank you.
I just have so much respect for Jermaine Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I could have done that, what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what they went through. I don't know what caused them to do what they did. I don't know what their mindset was to abandon their child, abandon their children. But them drugs is deep. And that will make you do that.
Okay,
Them
so
drugs
I'm
will
gonna
make
stop
you
it right
have a
here. I
I
just
don't
want to
give a
make sure
damn
everything is
mentality.
playing the way it
I
needs
was
to.
bounced around from like,
So I'm
would you
gonna
watch
stop
him
sharing.
for a minute?
Okay.
So,
So we
Salita, if we can advertise that over the next couple of days,
mm-hmm.
I think that would be fantastic.
Okay. Definitely could do that. Definitely. Okay. We definitely can do that for sure. So yeah, it can be played. I think it's going to be very interesting. There's hopefully no interruptions and we'll be able to do that. Tell me where's oh, when you need him. You don't need him, Nat. Damn it. I know what I'm doing. Hot dog it. But yeah, so yeah, we'll do that. And we'll play it for Wednesday. I'll carve out some time and we'll pull it up Wednesday. But yeah, So that's gonna work perfectly. So Mr. Porter, we just before you came on, we talked about the lie that we've been being told for so long about the rates, and we just pulled up and showed where. Now, hey, you guys, didn't we have somebody who pulled up? Didn't we have somebody who pulled up the comparison in the cities? I thought I saw that in our group where we had something saying comparing the cities, Ruston and all the other cities that have low. Who was
I
that?
did the mayor's page for that one.
No.
Something else?
No, that wasn't the one. It was saying something about Ruston and different cities that have lower rates than Alexandria do. Y'all remember that? I tried to find it, but I couldn't.
No.
See, like I was telling y'all, lots of times when y'all partying, having a good time, we researching. So 2 o'clock in the morning almost. Finding out stuff. Yeah, I had posted that. Okay, so Gregory, where'd you post that at? On your page? Is it on your page? Because I want them to see that. That would be cool for them to see that part too. So y'all understand when we're talking about the utilities. Yeah, Ruston is the cheapest. That's what it said. That's right. Nat said it, that Ruston is the cheapest. So he's been lying to y'all all this time, telling y'all that they are the cheapest, and they're not. And it doesn't matter what utility, how their utilities are set up. That's a lie. Oh, it's under, okay. So under Nat's post. Okay. All right. So let's find that. Yeah. Okay. Let's find that. Because I want the people, because everybody probably didn't see that or know that. But yeah. Hold up. Give me a second. Okay.
It was about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If my memory serves me correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I have relatives that live in New Orleans, Lafayette, Baton Rouge. I had some friends in Monroe and Shreveport. And I had convinced them to give me a copy of their utility bill.
Yeah.
And what I did was I took the total cost of electricity, and each bill is configured differently.
Yeah.
But what I did was I took the components that make up the total electrical charge for each of those bills. Now, like I was saying, this was 6 years ago. And broke it down to a cent per kilowatt hour. So how many cents are you charged per hour for the use of a kilowatt of electricity? And back then, Alexandria was not among the top. Now, that's just my relatives and friends who was willing to share their utility bill with. Now, we did one the other night comparing my bill with Salita's bill. Salita's on CLECO. I'm on Alexandria Utility System. And it was clear that CLECO charged for electricity per kilowatt hour was significantly cheaper than Alexandria's. So for all these years, now when I presented that information I had to the city council, what I distinctly remember is Michael Marcotte and Chuck Fowler, saying that I was not comparing apples to apples.
Yes, I remember that, Mr. Porter.
Okay, and that it was different, and it didn't apply, and that the citizens of Alexandria would be paying a lot more if we didn't own our own utility system.
Yeah.
Now, the whole reason I did that was a simple fact: the economy of scale. When you have more people that you can divide the cost among, your cost is inherently cheaper. You know, it goes back to the old theorem: two people can live cheaper than one, right? Because you're splitting most of the fixed costs between two people, so you're paying less. A city the size of New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Shreveport, they're much, much bigger than Alexandria. So we would expect their cost to generate and sell and transmit a kilowatt of electricity to be cheaper. Simply the economy of scale. But same thing would apply to Monroe and to Lake Charles. They're about 2 times bigger than Alexandria. The other ones are 3 to 4 times bigger than Alexandria, you know. So and that did bear out what we saw, what I saw back then, and what we saw just recently, and with what you posted, what Mr. Scott and what Salita posted earlier today. So all this time, the citizens of Alexandria has been sold the story that you are so much better off with us owning our little small utility system, which hardly runs, okay? And I'll get back to that in just a minute. And that we would be paying a much higher cost. And that's simply not the case. Now, one of the reasons our utility system doesn't run all the time is because we're part of the MISO system, and MISO runs the lowest cost generator of electricity. And then the ones that cost higher to generate a kilowatt of electricity, those are the last ones to come online. And that's when the price is higher and the demand is higher, which drives the price higher, supply and demand, that economics theorem. And so when it's very, very hot and a lot of people are using electricity, then Alexandria will get a call, okay, we need you to come online for 4 hours. If it's very, very cold and a lot of people need electricity, then Alexandria will get a call, hey, we need you to come online and generate some electricity. But when there are other units in the MISO system who can produce electricity cheaper than Alexandria utility system can, those are the ones come online first. Because as MISO sells that electricity to the grid, then they get a better profit. When we come on, the profit's not as high. Okay, so that's the situation. And you know, the thing is, at some point we need to look into, are we a small fish in a big, big pond? And should we even be in the electrical generating business? You know, so that's something we actually have to consider. Because right now, if we were not living in Alexandria, we would be paying less for electricity than what we're doing right now. You know, if we were just outside on the CLECO system, we're going to pay 1.5, 2 cents less per kilowatt hour. You know, so all the things that we've been told all these years simply are not true. And we've seen presentations with charts and all kind of stuff showing that Alexandria was the lowest or second to the lowest or whatever. It's just not true. That's not based in fact. It's not reality. You know, so that's our situation.
Oh, I didn't even know. I'm sorry. Listen, guys, it's not true. That's how we started this show. It's not true. You've been told things consistently over many time frames, and that it is just simply not true. So you don't have the lowest rates. And I know the reason he was saying that is because he's trying to prepare you for a potential rate increase.
Right.
Or not even prepare you. He's just giving you the heads up, like, yeah, the people's bills is about to get funky. And sure enough, like that next week, people started getting cut off. How do you correct that situation? Well, you take an honest look at your budget. You take a real honest look at your budget, and you see, you find the opportunities where you really need to spend conservatively. And you need to make things right that were wrong. The places that you ignored, you need to make whole. Then whatever's left after that, you figure out. But don't try to pause everything with one side being up and the other side being down, because I know that's exactly what could potentially happen. Well, look, guys, let's just stop doing everything until we figure it out. No, we're not going to stop doing everything until we figure it out, because you're already ahead. If we stop doing everything now, you're still going to be ahead, and I'm still going to be behind, and maybe even further behind. So I don't.
Let me respond to something that Nat placed in the chat. In Alexandria's rate schedule in the charter, you pay a certain rate for electricity if you only have electricity running to your house. Now, you pay a different rate for electricity, which is higher per kilowatt hour, if you have electricity and gas running to your house. Now, let me give you some of the history and background of how that came about. In the 70s, there was a lot of development, new home development that was taking place. In the 70s, there was natural gas was in abundance, coming from offshore and coming from land wells. There was a lot of natural gas in Louisiana available. And so, because of the hurricanes and thunderstorms and things like that, your electricity could go out, but your gas would be uninterrupted because it was in a pipeline under the ground, and you had a pumping station, a compressor station, maybe 100 miles away, that was compressing the gas in a pipeline and keeping it moving. So the electrical providers, the utility companies, they realized that gas was cutting into their profits. And this was in Louisiana. So what the electrical companies, utility companies started doing, that all the new home developments that was taking place, those utility companies were offering these developers a certain amount of money if they would only make the homes electric, not run any gas lines to the homes. And a lot of developers took that extra money and did that. Now, when there was an outage for a hurricane, those folks was just out of luck. But if you had gas, your heater would still run, hot water heater. Long time ago, folks, in the early 70s, we had refrigerators that ran off natural gas. We had ovens, stoves ran off natural gas. And we also had some other things run off the natural gas. So you would not be interrupted if a hurricane came through and electrical lines was knocked down. So if you look at Alexandria, even though they were somewhat in the middle of the state, the fact that Alexandria had their own utility system, they adopted the same strategy that these other utility companies had adopted. And so what they did was any newer developments that was coming online, you would receive a lower rate for electricity if your home was only electricity, that you had no gas going to your home. And that's how we ended up, Alexandria ended up with this two-tier system of electrical rates. If you only have electricity, you get a lower rate. I believe it's, I forget, I don't want to say because I need to go back to the charter and look at it. But if you had electricity and gas running to your house, you paid a higher rate for electricity per kilowatt hour. So what Nat put in there is absolutely correct. It's in the home rule charter, and that's the background for it. But now, fast forward to the 2020s, 2026, that's no longer a case. So that method of pricing, setting prices for your electricity, that's obsolete. We've evolved so much further past that we really shouldn't have a different electrical rate because you have gas versus the fact that you don't have gas, you know. So, but that was the reason why. Gas usage, gas was plentiful, gas was cheaper, natural gas was, and it was presenting a big major competition to the utility providers, the utility companies. And that's why we ended up with this two-tiered system. So.
And again, when you have an energy efficient home, which means it's sealed tight, your utility bill is not going to be as high simply because there's no leaks in your house. There's no air getting out. There's no cold air coming out, getting out, and there's no hot air getting out. So there's a better consistency of your bill being lower. There's a probability that your bill will be lower, and you can kind of control it that way. Well, now, I mean, you can't do that now because a lot of these houses that a lot of people live in, because we don't have landlords who think it's important that that they seal their homes up before they put people in them. Okay, and making sure that, you know, because it's business, it's going to always be business as usual, and you suffer with your utility bill because you need to suffer with your utility bill. It don't have nothing to do with anybody else. So instead of making it better for the renter or the tenant, it becomes a problem. And sometimes people have to make a decision whether to pay their utility bill or pay their rent. Pay everything else, and they have to include that in there because we don't have anybody regulating the renter. We don't have a renters registry. We don't have landlords who care. We have probably more slumlords than we have real legit landlords, especially when you're in the impoverished or the marginalized communities of Alexandria. And people don't realize that. Well, no, people have to, because they look at their utility bill and they know where they know that there's no insulation in between the walls of the homes they live in. They know it seeks out. They know when it's supposed to be hot, it's doubly hot. And they know when it's supposed to be cold, it's cold. There's a difference because air is seeping out and it's not properly insulated. So you have to deal with that when it comes to your utility bill. And they do. They really need to look at that and taking that into consideration. But again, like I told you guys the other day, Roy does not see you guys. He sees you. He already called you ratepayers. He sees you as utility bills that need to be paid. He don't see you as human beings with human problems and situations. He see you as a ratepayer. That's why it doesn't bother him to hear y'all get up there and talk about how much your utility bill is. He don't care. He just wants you to pay it. And that's why in that new ordinance, that so-called substitute ordinance, he talks about that in that substitute ordinance. What he's not going to do, what he say, what he will disconnect. Didn't he put a stipulation to all that? Because he's letting you know he don't care about all the stuff that you're going through. He just want that bill paid. Business as usual. And again, because it is 40 to 50% of the city's revenue, since the businesses probably are not, bringing in anything too much. I mean, why not live off the people? It's the greatest gimmick there is to have your own utilities and not have anything else going on in your city where it brings in revenue other than property taxes. I mean, what better way? And that's why I have an issue when you have the same restaurants. You have 5 different restaurants in the same area. Alexandria is not that big. There is no need to have 2 Whataburgers. There's no need to have 2 Freddy's. There's no need to have 2, what's the other restaurant they got? There's no need for that. What is the purpose of that? Unless somebody is getting to encourage them to bring in these franchises, somebody's getting something. So let me ask you something, Mr. Porter. So are these businesses still get that 5 years of utility incentives? Is that still in play?
Yes, that's still part of the, that is still part of the charter.
Okay.
So, if you recall, I tried to get that wiped out, right?
Yeah.
Sure
did.
Jeff Hall would not do it.
Mm-hmm.
Was
it 30%?
It was intended to be an incentive to bring other businesses into Alexandria. But what was happening is that they would come there and they would get all of these gifts and very low utility costs, no permit fee, didn't have to hook up, pay a tap-in fee. I mean, we did everything for them. As long as they hire 5 people, But there was no stipulation you had to hire 5 people from Alexandria. So what was happening, the folks that was getting these incentives were hiring people from outside Alexandria. So we got zero benefit. It was a net loss for us. And I wanted to close that loophole. And they just didn't see it. So we become the whipping boy for Central Louisiana. Everybody preys upon us. We go out, we work the fields, we bring in the crops, we set the table, but everybody else gets to eat, and we don't. So, but yes, that's still in place. That is still in place.
So each new business that comes in with this incentive, the amount, I don't know if you remember, what was was it a 30% discount on the utilities? I don't know, remember the number.
Yeah, I don't remember. I would have to go look it up again. But it was a significant
amount.
Yeah, it really was.
So that discount falls back on y'all, whether you know that or not. It falls back on the ratepayers, quote unquote, ratepayers.
That's right.
So if you got 4 or 5 different franchises coming into your city around the same time, y'all are paying some serious utility bills.
Right.
And that's the part he doesn't want to talk about. We can holler about the fuel charge being up, but we can also holler about the ideal that who pays for those discounts? Because I think that was one of the questions, Mr. Porter, you kept asking. The people pays for those discounts.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Because and there is a reason for that. The reason being, the city of Alexandria, and actually this was when Jack Roy was in his early terms, he went out for bond initiatives on the Alexandria utility system. And so as a requirement and criteria with those bonds to make sure the bond holders get their money back, to make sure we don't sell them a bond and then we fold and they go away lost, where they lose their money, that we had to do several things. First of all, we had to make sure that nobody gets free electricity. The other thing is we needed to maintain 18 months of the interest payments for the outstanding bonds. And we needed to make sure that our system was being run in a manner that would that would generate revenue. Okay. So in other words, you don't go out, get these bonds, and then you run your own system into the ground, So it was those 3 criteria. And the whole reason I ended up looking into this matter was what came before the city council was the Christian Love low-income housing complex, because that's what alerted me to this, that they received all of these benefits. They did not have to pay for a building fee. They didn't have to pay to connect electricity, water, sewer. They didn't have to pay for the electricity while they were building the place. The utility system set that up. Alexandria used to cut the grass for them. I mean, it was just unreal, the incentives, that they received. And it's all because the builder was out of Missouri, and so that qualified as someone coming in from outside and putting a unit up in Alexandria. And so when we found that out, we tried to close that loophole, because as it turns out, there was only one person hired from Alexandria, and that happened to be Larry Turner, the pastor of Christian Love. The other folks were not from Alexandria, so it didn't benefit us. We didn't get jobs from it. They were not paying the full price for utilities, and we had to supplement that, because whatever your total cost for utilities that we have, based on the bond that we floated, we cannot give electricity away. We have to charge for it. So we had to take that, divide it up, whatever that difference was, and spread it out among all the other rate payers, the people who are actually paying the bills. So that's how the reconciliation of the balance of what we owe gets resolved. It gets reconciled by dividing it up and applying it to all the rest of the people who are dutifully paying their bills. That's how it works.
And so think about that each time they bring in a new business, especially only when they're not bringing in industry, they're bringing in pop-up franchises that most of the time restaurants last the first 5 years, right? On average. So if they got this incentive for 5 years, that discount they have for 5 years. So if they decide to shut the doors on that restaurant, they benefited. They walk away paying that last bill. That's it. Because they got a good incentive from the get-go. And that's what you got to look at whenever you see new businesses pop up. Especially when they're not paying.
That was the issue with the guy over there at that Bank One building.
Yeah. He left here with a $35,000 bill.
The citizens of Alexandria with a $40,000 utility bill that if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure it was John, worked out that incentive deal with him the first time. And so that's what I'm trying to get across to y'all. There are certain people that this administration, when it comes to your utility bill, they will work with you. They'll let you go 20, 30, 40K in the hole. Matter of fact, if you stiff us, that's okay. We'll just pass it on to the consumers. And we'll never know what the details of those deals are. And I just want to point out the fact that Jock Roy is also a member of Christian Love.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a member, but he goes twice a year.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's a member.
Yeah, okay, you're right. That doesn't make you a member. Makes you a really, really infrequent visitor. Hey, but if that's the case, then we might as well add Ballard and Filter too, because they went.
But they went once a year. But like even Reuben went, and Reuben and Reuben's Jewish. And I believe that was Easter. Wasn't that Easter? Yeah, I know they go twice a year. So one is the pastor's anniversary, and the other one is I think the other one was Easter, or maybe I got it mixed up. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So Ms. Brees asks, who absorbs that bill? The ratepayers do.
Yeah. So in the charter, there is defined how we handle the difference. So at the end of a particular year, we do a calculation to see how much electricity was purchased, how much was paid for, and the difference has to be divided out among the other active current persons who are paying utility bills. So that's done once a year, and it's called a reconciliation. So the amount of electricity that was not paid for, it needs to be paid for. So it's divided up among the current payers. So let's say it was $1 million of unpaid bills. Then and there are 25,000 of the payers, you know. So everyone would get a share. You would take that 1 million divided by 25,000, and that's what each payer would get added into the fixed cost of their utility bill. So that is done every year. That is an exercise that is done.
So you're saying, okay, so on our bills, if you had an AUS bill, they have what you call a fixed rate on there?
Right.
And that's what
we don't have a fixed rate. It's calculated into what our rate would be. So it's not itemized separately.
Okay, I got
that you would know what it is, but it does go into a formula that determines what our rate would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the sad part about it. And that's why, remember when, I don't know if it was Jeff Hall, I don't know if it was when you guys were all up, when y'all were in office. Remember when they were trying to hire a management team? Do you remember that?
I remember. I remember several management teams they were hiring. The human resource group hired a management team or a consultant team. The utility department hired a consultant team. Now they already had numerous contractors. And somebody else hired a consultant team. So there was, and I don't remember what group that was, but yeah, there was many people, several departments had come before the city council with contracts to hire consultant teams.
Right. And they were wanting to be the ones to manage the utilities, remember? I think that's when Mr. Fuller was trying to get some, or was that Jeff Hall at the time was trying to get some?
No, not utilities, because Michael Marcotte would not let Jeff Hall even consider that. Now we had several, we had at least 3 I know of that approached Alexandria and wanted to manage our utility system.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And they gave us 3 options. One option was they would buy it from us, you know, complete, lock, stock, and barrel. They would buy it from us, and they would maintain, they would keep the current employees. Everybody that worked for the utility company would become their employee. They would guarantee they would keep them for 3 years. They would keep our rates the same for 3 years. But then after that 3 years is up, they would go into their own management strategy. That was one option. The other option was a group would just come in and manage it for us. We didn't have to manage it anymore. We still owned it, but they would do everything required to run it. And then the third one was kind of like a hybrid. We would run it. We would own it. They would run it, and they would pay us a certain percent of the profits. Okay. But Jeff Hall was not interested in either of those, and it was primarily because Michael Marcotte was saying no, because if they come in, they're going to fire me and I'll be out of a job. So no, you can't do that, you know. But the way they frame it was that our price, what we pay as citizens, would go up, and that's why I did the little comparison that I did, using my family's bills in different cities to see what they pay and what we pay, and the result was, hey, if we got rid of this and we bought directly off the grid, we would actually be saving money, you know, because we were getting charged more than if we bought it straight from the grid. Now, the grid fluctuates. They could go very high during the winter when it's a high demand, very high during the summer when it's a high demand, and then they'll drop down and low in the fall and spring when there's not as much demand. You know, so it kind of balances out. But it certainly would have been worth it, you know, to at least consider those options. But we didn't even consider them. We just went with the narrative that we're so much better off owning and running our own system.
When in reality, that was just a way to keep tabs on the money too.
Yeah.
That was their way of making sure that they knew where every penny went.
Now, what Alexandria has to realize is that we're in a pretty tough position because we operate with a budget of about $241 million a year. That's what all our revenue is. But the revenue from our utility company is 113 million. So of that 241 million, 113 million comes in from utilities. So that's like 47%, you know, almost 50% of what we bring in. So if we did not have the utility system, then 50% of our revenue would go away. But then also our utility system is one of our largest expenses for the city. So a large portion of our expenses would go away also. But we would retain the water, we would retain the gas, and we would retain the sewage and sanitation. And so what's likely to happen, let's say if we did not have the utility system and we bought our electricity from the grid, then we would likely see our sanitation costs go up, our water costs go up, and our gas costs go up, so that we can continue to run the city. But our electric costs would be lower, you know. So it depends. We have to do a full economic cost benefit analysis to determine is the overall situation better for us. I believe it would be. You know, just based on my knowledge of how that system works. But we would need to do that before we entered anything that we would change, you know, about the system. But it's worth looking into.
Well, we know with him in the office right now, he'd lie and say it won't benefit y'all. The first thing come out of his mouth is automatically that it won't benefit you.
Yeah, because two things folks need to keep in mind is that when Jack Roy was in and he floated those bonds were floated at 4.5% and 5% interest, and they are non-callable bonds. That means if we had some extra money, we can't just retire those bonds and buy them back and stop paying the interest on them. And those bonds will not mature until 2040, a lot of them. But think right now, if you're in the investment market, how many investments pay you a yield of 4.5% or 5%? You know, your treasury bonds are only paying about 3.4%. You know, a lot of stocks pay less than 4% dividends. So, I mean, these folks that bought these things a long time ago, they're doing very well. And the fact that they're non-callable means we're stuck with that for the duration of the bond for 40 years. So we don't want to go down that road anymore. If Jack Roy floated bonds this year and for 40 years, I won't be around. I'm 70, I'm almost 71. I won't be around to pay those bonds off. It's going to be the younger folks that's going to have to pay that off. For the next 40 years, you're the ones that's carrying that debt on your backs as citizens, you know. So we need to consider all of that before we allow things to happen. And it's your council members that have to stand in the breach for you and make sure that all of this is examined and analyzed and researched and reviewed, you know, and questioned before they vote on it. Because if you just vote to go along just to get along with the mayor, you're sentencing your citizens to 40 years of debt. And they're going to have to carry that, you know, and that'll be passed down to their kids to satisfy these debts.
And the thing is, if you have a decreasing population, that's more on the ones who's left behind. That's something else you have to look at. And the ideal that we need a full forensic audit on all the departments, not just the utilities, all the departments, to get a clean slate of really what's going on. That's what's needed. When you talk about cleaning up your city, especially when it comes to the administration, you need all your departments looked into to make sure everything is adequate. As you know, we showed the budget about 2 weeks ago. And on that budget, he got more mayor assistants. He has about 5 or 6 mayor assistants. For what? You're smaller than Shreveport. You're smaller than Monroe. Remember, we went over Monroe's budget and we told you the difference on what their budget is opposed to what we have. And we have a smaller population than Monroe does. So, yeah, I think all departments need to be looked into. Now, we compared their police department, their law enforcement and stuff, and it's about what and what. But all the other departments, when we were looking at, we saw the big difference in the budget for Alexandria's opposed to what Monroe is using. Like the idea that y'all spend $3 million on legal fees. Your budget for your legal fees is $3 million. If I'm not mistaken, Monroe was only 1 point something. If I'm not mistaken, Shreveport is only 1 point something. And when that was brought up, I remember when Mr. Green was talking about it, and the first thing came out of Jock's mouth was he said, that's probably not including all their contracted. But when we went and pulled up Monroe's budget, it included everybody. He included the contracted and part-time attorneys and the assistant attorneys. All of that was included in that amount. So we have to look at it from that standpoint. I really believe Alexandria is wasting money in a lot of places. I believe a lot of people are being taken care of off of the budget of Alexandria. And because they think that the marginalized communities don't know how to read a budget, and that's why they only give you 2 days and an hour a day to look at the budget. So they know you don't know what you're talking about. And that's why we brought it up over here on the show. We pulled up the budget and we went through the budget best way we could. But Mr. Porter, you weren't available when we did that.
No, I wasn't. I'm sorry, but since then I have gone through the budget, and I just want to alert you to something. I didn't even get an opportunity to go back and view the show when y'all reviewed the budget. But if you look at the previous budget years, where they have the final amount. So Alexandria's fiscal year runs from May the 1st of the current year to April 30th of the next year. That's our fiscal year. And so since April 30th is the end of a fiscal year, our calculations or the final numbers for that year usually are not available until October. So in October, we get to see how much we spent and what all the numbers were for the previous fiscal year. So this is what happens. Here we are in March, evaluating a budget, and we know the budget for the 2 previous years. The current year won't be available until October. But what we see in that budget is that the amount of revenue that came in the 2 previous years, the revenue being projected for the current or the next year is significantly lower than what has come in the 2 previous years. Now that's an accounting method to where if I think I'm going to bring in 50 million from tax revenue, I'm just using that as an example, but I put in there, I'm only going to bring in 47 million. What happens is I'm probably going to get another 50 million the next fiscal year, but I've only appropriated 47. So that means I'm going to have a $3 million surplus right there. And it's not been appropriated because it's not in the budget. I projected less than what I really am likely to receive. So mid-year, I'll come back to the council and I'll say, hey, we got some extra money and it's budget neutral. It's not going to require us to increase the budget. But with this money that we have available, I would like to now do this project. You see, now if he had identified that we were going to get 50 million coming in this year, just like we did the 2 previous years, you would appropriate that money, right? You would use it for some project like addressing the issue with brown water or addressing the issue with potholes in certain streets or the streets that don't have lighting or signs. You would use that money. Okay, we got this money available. We're going to use it for something. However, when he squirrels it away like a squirrel burying acorn somewhere, only to go back in the middle of winter and dig it up and say, hey, look, this is what I found. Okay, that's not being honest, all right? Because now everybody's saying, great, we got some extra money. All right, this is what I want to use it for. instead of this is what it really should be used for. We should address some of our highest priorities. But instead, I have this windfall, and so let's now go use it for this. And so that game's been played on us for many, many years. And, unfortunately, there's a lot of folks that served on the city council who just didn't recognize that game and wasn't able to stop it in its tracks. But hopefully this year we can do that. We can stop it in its tracks, as long as we make our council members aware of what the game is, recognize it, and this is how you defend against it. So let's see.
And that is very important when we're looking at the budget, because a lot of things are being missed. A lot of things are not being getting the attention that's supposed to. And of course, the citizens are supposed to be frustrated. Of course, the citizens are supposed to be mad, because if they understand that there's a possibility that money can be going into their communities and into their districts, and it's not doing that, there is an issue. Didn't you guys have a surplus of $3 million when you left office, Mr. Porter?
We had a general fund that was about $28 million when I left in 2022. December of 2022. I believe it was $28 million in the general fund. Yes.
So it's 2026. So in 4 years, it's gone?
Pretty much. I need to go back through the budget and see what our I don't want to call it a surplus, what our general fund is, because remember, we have to maintain 18 months of the interest payments for the outstanding bonds. And then once you subtract that away, see what we're left with.
So having the pulse on your budget for your city, it definitely helps the citizens to know where their money is going. And so people can, because it affects everyone, especially when 45 to 50% of your revenue comes from the utilities. So again, like I said earlier, that's what's important to y'all. Your sob story about you not being able to afford your utilities, I'm not saying that in a very facetious way. I'm not even saying that in a mean way. When you get up there and talk about how, woe's me, I can't pay my utility bill, he doesn't care about that. He don't. That don't move him, because he can pay his. And he's probably living in a good, solid house.
He actually does. He does care that you can't pay your bill.
Okay.
That's why he planned the restore thing before he even knew there was a problem with the utilities.
No, he already knew that there was a problem with the utilities. He knew that already.
How would he know that there was a problem with the utilities?
Because he had total access to everything that was going on in that office. Like I said.
Why would you say that?
Because, like I said, Paul got in there, that Jacques never left.
So the issue here is that whenever you hear the mayor talks about our rates are too low, he's talking about the base rates that's in the city charter, and those have not changed for a long time. But what also contributes to the actual cost of your bill is the fuel cost. And because of the war that United States is involved with in Iran, the price of oil have gone sky high. So that means for this month and the next 2 months, when we see a fuel charge on our electric bill, it's going to reflect the cost of oil that's over $100 a barrel. So that means our fuel charge is going to be very high. And that'll drive up your total electric bill. There'll be a lot of people that can't pay that bill. You know, they may find themselves using less electricity, but having a much higher bill. And right now, the weather is not as hot as we know it will get. And they'll have to use more electricity, and their bill will be even higher. So with the limited income, a lot of our folks in Alexandria have, they simply will not be able to pay their electric bill. So they'll get cut off. And it's important that the mayor cuts them off because he has designs on floating another bond issue. And to float a bond issue and get people willing to purchase your bonds for 40 years, they have to see that you are a solvent, that you can generate enough revenue to pay them their interest for 40 years and then give them their total principal back at the end of the 40 years. And as a mayor, Jack Roy cannot do that if we have a lot of people that simply can't pay their electric bill. So what he has to do, he has to cut them off. And because when you cut them off, you don't have that income coming in to attract the bond investors, you have to increase the rate that you're charging the rest of your users or ratepayers so that you can get that number up. And it's based on how much you can bring in. Imagine if you have a job paying $30,000 a year and you go apply for a loan. The amount that a lender will give you as a loan is based on the amount of money you make. Now imagine if you make $50,000 a year. You go to a lender, you'll get more money. So for City of Alexandria, if we can generate $100 million a year in revenue from the utility sales, there's a certain amount of bonds we can float based on that $100 million a year. But if people are defaulting and we're only getting $80 million a year coming in from utility revenue, then we can only get a certain amount of bonds, and that'll be less than what you can get with $100 million. So you see, that's why it's so important that he eliminates the people who cannot pay and he increased the rates on the people who can pay so that he can go out to the bond market and get a lot of money that he can use right now, and the citizens pay it back over the next 40 years. That's how it works.
So is this like perpetual? Is it, I know we can. I know all contracts can be reversed. All things can be undone. It's just a matter of how inconvenienced you want to be. But uh, given the fact that uh, there are no solid benefits and there are no solid parameters to having our own utilities. I know Jock likes to purport and give off these allegories about how we need to protect the utility system because it's the thing that moves Alexandria forward, whatever. Don't care. The Alexandrians didn't choose for that to be the engine that Alexandria runs on. You chose that. You and Michael Marcotte, two people, chose to pull Alexandria down this wherever we are right now. So it's only fitting that he be the one that would be most invested in it and have access to it, even if he's outside of office, even if he's not the mayor, because he's that far invested. I wouldn't be surprised if he's financially invested in it, like literally, like he has stock in my show or something. I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised one bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Marcotte had stock in my show. But I know people don't know these things, but I do want to bring you guys back to when Michael Marcotte, Jock Roy, and them, and first got involved with myself. There was a convention that they all had to go to in Las Vegas, right? And the mayor and his staff, or at least his top staff, they all went on the taxpayers' dollars to go to this MISO convention in Vegas. The reason I know about this MISO convention that took place in Vegas is because Jock Roy's then lawyer,
I thought it
city attorney.
was Florida.
It was the city attorney at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city attorney, Chuck Johnson. The city attorney, Chuck Johnson, let me tell you how wild they get when they're away from here, right? He went drunk driving, allegedly, and crashed the rental. Now, when he got back, you have to submit your receipts for all your expenditures while you was on the trip if you want the taxpayers to pay for it. He submitted handwritten receipts because it was that bad. I think he went to jail in Vegas, and nobody's supposed to ever have found out about it. I know a lot of people are hearing that story for the very first time, but I will assure you that story is at least 12 years old. At least 12 years old. And that was Jock's pick. So if you start looking at the people that Jock surrounds himself with, there are a lot of people that are yes men. Michael Marcotte was not so much a yes man, but more so of a control valve. He was like the he was the enforcer, if you will. That's why ever since Marcotte's been gone, Jock's been looking weaker and weaker on certain stances. Who knows? Maybe Jock and Marcotte, the real reason Marcotte left was because him and Jock didn't agree on everything with the Restorer. Because I remember them two falling out in public behind that first, before Marcotte decided to leave. And I want to also add that Marcotte's departure was kind of all of a sudden as well. But we'll circle back to that. Am I correct, Mr. Porter?
Well, he left a few times, right? And it was all to avoid prosecution, and until they could settle something and resolve it, and then he'd come back. Same thing with Charles Johnson. Same thing with Crutchfield. So I mean, it's a pattern. It's a pattern with that particular group circle of
That's
friends.
criminal organizations. Those are the actions of a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, and that was the same thing with Jared.
Out the way, we'll get the heat off of you. We'll get back to business as usual, but you just got to lay low, Sonny.
So it's it's the old saying, birds of a feather, they all flock together. Mm-hmm. So they're pretty much cut from the same cloth.
I got off the point. I'm sorry. Yeah. So part of me telling all these stories, right, or just sharing that little brief bit with y'all, is that Jock usually picks people that he likes, right? And Mr. Porter always said Jock has a keen eye for a coon. You could call it a coon eye, right? And he keeps those types of people around him, not coons, sellouts. I'm sorry, because coon is derogatory. And no, Lord knows I do not want to offend any coons out there. So if you're a sellout, he has a keen eye for your attributes, for your abilities. When he wants somebody to use, he'll pull Roosevelt out of nowhere. When he wants somebody to use, he'll, like he did with Reddix, right? So the reason I'm bringing up all these little backstories is because we're talking about honesty here, people, and we're talking about your utilities. And there's been nothing honest about how these utilities have been being ran since day one. I know we've been searching for honesty. We've been trying to make sense out of things that don't make sense for so long that we've kind of resolved and resigned to just, type deal. But now's a good time. Now's as good a time as any to start taking a better look at what we're doing here. These floating these bonds, all these illegal moves and all these things that violate the charter. Although he doesn't want to change the charter, he still wants to violate the charter, which is weird. Because I mean, why violate the charter when you could just change the charter? But he doesn't want to do that. Perfect example with oh, that's what we wanted to get into. Okay, go ahead. I mean, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but I got something for you.
Well, I want to say one thing. It's we were talking about bonds. We were talking about the utility system. We were talking about the budget. Something that ties into all of that. So this Reignite program that the mayor is currently advocating for. There was never a cost-benefit analysis presented to the city council. And the mayor's been touting that this hodgepodge of different projects all across the budget and in a certain area of the city will generate revenue. It will grow revenue. But he never pointed out how. 6 pickleball courts. How does that generate revenue? That's $1 million we spent there. If we do work on Masonic Drive, the street, so that particular corridor is a very nice street. How does that generate revenue? If we put up some other things, lights along a particular street, change the lights out and make it kind of like the underpass at MacArthur and Jackson. How does that generate revenue? The point is, it does not generate revenue. So this 80 million, and now the latest estimates is 100 million. That's a lot of money to be spent. Could we not spend that money better? And how much revenue will be generated from that money? And that has yet
Is that
to
just
be.
from Reignite?
Yeah, that has yet to be demonstrated to the citizens, or even to the city council, to the people who have to vote on all of this.
Exactly.
So
so I got a clip real quick. Go ahead, Mr. Porter, but I have a clip. Go ahead, Mr. Porter. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm through. I'm through.
I didn't want to, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let y'all know I had a clip I wanted to show from the news about the Reignite.
Breaking down the new initiative Reignite at a mayoral briefing on Wednesday. In July, the city launched Reignite, a series of projects that aims to reimagine the Masonic Drive corridor. One of those projects is restoring Bringhurst Park and a multi-purpose facility with a cost of about $9.5 million.
Bringhurst Park, this is a restoration of the facilities back up to the original level and then some. because it would be multi-use.
Another project under Reignite is bringing to life Masonic Court Sports, an approximate $1 million project which will provide handball, pickleball, tennis, and other sports for recreation. On Tuesday night, the Alexandria City Council adopted a resolution to authorize the mayor to accept the lowest bid for Masonic Court Sports. All in all, the city will utilize an estimated $82 million for Reignite projects, $45 million for municipal bonds, $7 million in capital outlay funds, and $30 million in state and federal matching funds without creating.
Hold up, pause it.
That Reignite corridor, because of where it's.
Pause it.
I did.
$45 million in what?
In municipal bonds.
The bonds, right?
What bonds?
The bonds that he plans to float. That's assuming he didn't already pre-file those bonds like he did last time.
Was this today? Or when was this?
This was a while back.
Yeah, this was a while back.
Okay. So this was before the city council meeting before the bond hearing?
Yeah, no, I don't know, Tavares. You asking, I don't know.
Okay, because if this was before the bond hearing, this clearly shows his intentions His intention was to, in fact, get those bonds. He just knew he had those.
But
and
Tavares,
even if it was after the bond hearing went the way it went, this had to have been before the bond hearing. Because why would he put that back up there if they didn't float them the first time?
Okay, so another thing with the bonds, he said that there was going to be outside help, external help, people that he had already talked to from different cities that were going to actually help with this. So I don't know. And then he's saying $7 million in capital outlay funds.
So it was $7 million out of the budget, $45 million out of bonds. And where'd the rest come from?
$30 million is in state and federal matching funds.
Now, something to keep in mind, every year we get anywhere from $9 million to $11 million that comes into our capital fund.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some years it's 7 million, some years it's as high as 9 million. So that 7 million is the bottom of what would come in on an annual basis from taxes, that the portion of the taxes that is dedicated to the capital budget. So that's where that comes from. Now, this 45 million, he would have to go to the bond market and float bonds for that. And then
that's 40 years.
Yeah. And the 30 million from state and federal matching funds, I'm not sure which programs that's all about, and whether or not we would actually receive that. See, this is all before the fact, okay? I don't know of any of that money except the 7 million from capital that has come in yet. Certainly the municipal bonds, that money hasn't come in, and the federal matching funds or grants, I don't know if that's come in. So we're forging ahead with a program that we don't have the money for in our pockets yet.
Is he going to try to force it? It seems like he's going to try to force it.
Well, if you think about the Spark program,
if the money's not there.
If you think about the Spark program, what did we get out of the Spark program? What did the citizens of City of Alexandria got out of the Spark program?
That's a very good question.
The disco lights. at the intersection of Jackson and MacArthur.
MacArthur.
We got those. That was a part of that.
What didn't we get signs on Masonic
You got
Drive?
some.
Didn't
You
we
got
get
the
them
you got the
signs?
lights.
Okay. Then we get the plants and stuff down lower third.
Yeah, you got those. You got the trees
Yeah, you
that
got the
are that
trees.
sit right across the train tracks on Third. You got the tree and the
Hmm.
two benches that are not at a bus stop that face each other that are just randomly sitting on the side of a street.
Yeah.
We got that.
What else you got from
Uh,
Spark?
I don't know, but that brings up a good point. He's talking about invested in Masonic Drive, but you got infrastructure that's failing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got the
You
dog
got
park.
Oh,
Remember?
dog
oh yeah,
park
the
came out
dog
of
park.
that.
Oh yeah. Thank God for the dog park. That provided a lot of jobs. Those dog
So
park, those city employees, those dog park attendants, they're making bank over there.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Hold on, let's finish playing this real quick. It's not long.
We're doing that SWAT building, which is public safety, and all those different pieces, there's a lot of opportunities. People in our city want to see change, and they want to see this scale of shopping and opportunities. And we can't be driven by what someone says that lives somewhere else and doesn't. We have to do what we need to do for our city to make it a place that is attractive and has the quality of life for those value-added jobs that you want to get.
As part of Reignite, the city will partner with local and state entities to redevelop Masonic Drive. That includes partnering with Christus St. Francis Cabrini Hospital, the Alexandria Mall, and LSUA. This, as Mayor Roy says, sales taxes are steady for the city. For that full briefing from Mayor Roy, head over to KALB.com.
Now, here's something that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the comment that the reporter said is that sales taxes for Alexandria are steady.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in this particular budget submittal by the mayor, he dropped the projection of revenue coming in from sales tax. So if back then, I don't know how long ago that particular presentation was made.
4 months.
4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
if sales tax revenue was steady going forward for this Reignite project. But then in March, he projects less revenue coming in from sales taxes. So that's a contradiction from what he said earlier. So the question is, what has changed between then and now? If that was 4 months ago, what has transpired over the 4 months that would result in sales tax revenue being lower for the next 12 months, the next fiscal year? You know, is it the war in Iran? Is it the high price of oil? Is it the inflation, the high inflation? You know, what is it? The job loss that we're seeing from a lot of companies? You know, what are the reasons that you're projecting a lower revenue for sales tax when 4 months ago you felt it would be steady?
Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting.
I really feel like Jock tried to pull a fast one on everybody at that bond hearing, and I think he got caught. He got caught doing it. The council, Mr. Jules and Mr. Malcolm caught him, and that's why he got so defensive about the line of questioning. Uh, that's why he brought the bond guy. He brought him up there to try to convince everybody that it was a good thing. Uh, just like he typically does. Whenever he has some malicious or some uh, malicious intended uh, actions that he's got on that agenda, he'll bring in extra help. So you'll see a Thomas DeVede give a presentation about the utilities, even though Thomas DeVede has absolutely zero to do with the Alexandria utility systems. But what did Jock do? He got him to do an entire presentation and got the people to cover it. It's, it was shown on Channel 4. And, there's a lot of, it feels like a series of publicity stunts to trick people into believing that this was for this bond that he was trying to float in front of them was for the best. And it wasn't. And the council said that, and they showed that, and they did that. They voted that way.
Yeah, I was proud of him that night. Of course, that was not one of my better performances that night because I was so concerned that the council members would be swayed by the lies that were being told. And since you're limited only to 3 minutes and you can't offer a rebuttal, you get up and you present facts, and then the mayor comes behind you with a lot of lies and inaccurate statements. Usually it's the last thing that's said that people retain in their minds, So if you can get the last word, then you have a better chance of getting your point accepted. But that bond lawyer, Jack Roy, threw him in front of the bus is what he did. Because and it was the bond lawyer who revealed that they had already pre-filed the bond initiative.
Yeah, he's the one who told.
He's the one that said that, right?
Yep.
So, you have to respect him for stating the truth and not trying to go along with the mayor's facade of that whole thing. But what kind of person is that if he's leading the city, he's going to bypass the city council, bypass the chairman of the finance committee, bypass the president of the city council, and go straight to the bond commission and file this initiative to float bonds, and then come back to the city council and try to urgently get them to approve this because of the deadline. See, they couldn't wait until the city council approved it first and then go apply it, go file for it, because the deadline would have passed.
Mm-hmm.
So they filed for it first and come to the city council after the fact. Well, the city council didn't go for it that time. And that was the right thing to do. Just like the time the citizens voted down those tax propositions where you wanted to renew the tax 5 years before the tax had expired.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
Yes.
We must always be vigilant with this administration, because he keeps trying to hoodwink us, keep trying to pull the wool over our eyes. He keep trying to bamboozle us, and we must be vigilant the entire time.
Yep. Pay attention to what's going on. Think about the gerrymandering. Think about all the things he's done to make sure that you guys don't thrive. Let's talk about the affordable housing. I told them, well, I think we were watching it when Malcolm mentioned it. And I said it. I said, he don't want affordable housing. You can tell he don't. And the answer that he gave was a dead answer, because he said, yeah, he does. But if you kept listening to what he was saying, he was totally against it. Because again, if you talk utilities, you have a solid house, utilities are not going to be high.
Right.
So, and then if y'all homeowners, That means you can contribute more, and you deserve to get the same thing everybody else gets. Well, I'm not trying to make sure y'all get it, because again, poor people make rich people what? Rich. The ideal, like I said on the live I did, you guys live in a food desert. Y'all don't have a grocery store down Lower Third, but that's not important. It's like brown water, not important.
They don't have a grocery store down Lower Third, but we just opened up an Olive Garden.
Yeah. You have high crime. Okay, housing is terrible. So I mean, if y'all don't think that you're worth all that, I think you are. I think any black community is worth it. A fight. This is your turn. This is your turn to grab up your shield and your sword. And don't be afraid. Ain't nothing to be afraid of. And fight. We protest everything else, but we don't protest clean water. We don't protest clean housing, safe environments for our kids. We don't protest none of that. If you want to protest, those are things that we should be protesting in our communities, at your city hall. Can't get nobody out. Can't get nobody want to participate. Nobody want to talk about it. But you sit and suffer in silence when you don't have to. Because by right, if you pay a utility bill in the city of Alexandria, you got a right to raise hell every time you turn around. Because again, like we said earlier, 45 to 50% of the utility, the revenue that comes in comes off them utilities. So you have a right to say where you want your money to go. It is a lot more people pay their bill on time and in full than we know. Because if you let him say it, if you let him talk about it, people are not paying their bills. That's the only thing that comes out of their mouths. When you listen to him, he's always condemning people who can't afford their bill. And that, again, that's what I keep trying to tell you. You guys are a utility bill to him. That's all he sees. And he don't want to hear the excuses. He don't want to hear the sob stories because he got to pay that $800,000 a month bond that has to be paid for the next 40 years. So he don't want to hear all that. All that extra stuff y'all talking about, he don't want to hear. Can you pay your bill? Can you pay your guesstimated bill? Can you pay the bill for companies that come in and only pay 30% of they have a 30% discount on their incentive and you take the rest of it? All that other stuff don't matter to them. I'm just saying. That's how it is. And once y'all realize that that's how it is, that's how you got to act accordingly. Since I'm just a rate payer, I'm just a bill payer to you, I'm going to start acting like one. And I'm going to start demanding things from you. Because he's sure in the hell demanding from you. You want that bill to be paid every month. So you can pay for Johnny Downs. So you can pay for the zoo, the links on the bayou, all the places that you don't even go. You don't take your kids to, you don't go enjoy. You paying for it still. Not only paying Johnny Downs to maintain it, you're paying that lease, that 99-year lease on that plantation that Johnny Downs sits on. I'm just saying, when enough is enough, like Mr. Fuller used to say, enough is enough. We need to bring out the broom and sweep them out the door. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. Have a picture of, have a big cutout of Jock Roy, Johnson, and Villar, and then have a broom and sweep them out the door. I'm just saying. Enough is enough. But I guess y'all, we get loud and we get angry, we get mad. It's y'all turn now. Y'all got the floor.
We do all that, but when we gonna get smart?
Yeah. Well,
we can be mad as we want to, but we gotta put some intelligence and some intellect and an action plan behind some of this.
I totally agree. You pull out the lies. You pull out the receipts. and we'll move accordingly. The first lie is that utilities are lower in AUS than any other place in the state. That's the first lie.
Hold on. I got some for y'all. Share screen. All right. So the thing is, right? What Jock tried to do at that last city council meeting by shoving that paperwork in front of people at the last minute. Once I got a hold of it, I took it to Grok and I fed it through AI, right? And I asked AI, and here's what it said. This is my question specifically. Was this policy sourced from another municipality or an existing policy? Yes. The core of this criteria was copied from a whole nother. And look, it gives all the Texas, it's from a place, it's a Texas public utility code or public utility codes that he stole this from. There it goes. The admin code subsection, right. So basically what he told everybody when he was trying to sell what he was selling to the council and trying to hurry up and make them vote on it, when he said that this was an idea he came up with, it's not true. It's an idea that he stole from somewhere else. It's not true. It's not true. The only parts that are actually specific are these. When he got to talking about the warming centers, right, which wasn't his idea, he was not supporting at first. The non-compliance part about the pervasive past disconnects has nothing to do with anything, but he added that part and this other part, right? Oh shoot, I clicked the wrong thing. It said it explicitly adopts the administration's existing inclement weather policy, right? So it didn't do what Jock said it did. Jock lied again. And this is as recent as the last city council meeting. It said this policy is not a direct copy of another city's ordinance or municipal policy. No other municipality documents uses this exact combination of language or structure. However, the triggering weather criteria were clearly drawn from the well-established Texas regulatory model, widely used by Texas Utility and referenced in multiple state rules post winter storm events. Alexandria had faced public criticism in 2023 over disconnects during a heat wave, leading to earlier unsuccessful council attempts to codify protections. This 2026 ordinance appears to formalize and strengthen an internal administrative policy that already incorporated these standards. The thing was, it was about the protections that were supposed to be included in the charter, not the policy of the administration. So again, Jock lied.
Okay, so I'm gonna
All
play
he
that
did
clip.
was give a piece of paper with their stuff on it, with those added pieces to it, so he could have a reason to deny customers. This is all just another reason to deny customers the right to have their utilities preserved during inclement weather. And he's talking about on a case-by-case basis. But why is it on a case-by-case basis when you can just literally just make up something in the charter that is a guideline across the board?
Yeah. So let's go back. You know what, Tavares? Great point. So let's go back to that city council meeting, which was March of 24. So let's listen up. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'd like to welcome everybody to today's utility committee meeting. We have one item on the agenda. To be heard by myself, George Green, and Michael Alberdane, members of the committee. Number one is to consider final adoption of an ordinance revising section 26 of the City of Alexandria Municipal Codes with respect to the determination of utility services during extreme weather conditions. It's item 25 in our books. This ordinance was put on Mr. Green, which is certainly something that all of us want to be sure that we're giving as much as we possibly can within the law to help people when we have extreme temperatures. In spite of that, we certainly don't want to put anything in the law as an ordinance that is something you can't have a little wiggle room around. The policy that we have is working, can be made better. At this point, the mayor and his staff have sent us a suggested ordinance to add to this or rewrite. And I'd like to recognize him, let him speak on this, if he wishes.
Mr. Goins and I might both talk on it. We have given you a what I would call, and I guess this is subject to a little bit from Mr. Guest on whether you can do a substitute ordinance. It's clear reading what Mr. Green asked for, that there is a desire to codify or at least make subject to law an inclement weather policy. In January, for example, we sent our policy, which has been in effect since about 2014. And our policy already codifies the exact language from the during an extreme heat defined by the issuance of an NWS heat advisory, residential disconnection shall be suspended. During extreme cold, we add a bunch of cold stuff that they don't always have, but ours is heat and cold. And so what I would say is that the ordinance that Mr. Green has before the body tonight,
Hold on.
way liberality that our current written policy.
Okay, so hold on. Let me turn this down real quick. All right. So back to this, right? Let me add this to the stage. Let me remove this, right? Back to this though, right? It says right here, it says 2023, where's the 2023 part at? It had a part in here about 2020, something that took place in it's in response to some issues that took place in 2023. Now, the reason that we're even talking about this, right, is because of what took place in 2023, right? And we've been trying to get something on the books since 2023, right? So if it's been on the books since 2014, then why was there an issue 11, 12 years later with the same thing with the policy that you already had on the books? It doesn't add up.
And what you're looking for is all the way at the bottom of that, all the way at the bottom. Yes.
Wait, hold on. I lost it. You know, my eyes in the start. There it goes. Damn, open up the wrong thing. All right, so Alexandria had faced public criticism in 2023 over disconnects during a heat wave. Now, let's go back over here. Pull this down. Let's put this back up. And can you rewind that about 10 seconds?
And while she's rewinding it, one of the things he stated was that it was already codified. It is not in the municipal codes. It is not in the city charter. Therefore, it is not subject to law. Where it is, if it actually existed, it was in the mayor's administration policy manual. It was not in the municipal codes. It was not in the home rule charter. So therefore, it was not codified and it was not subject to law. He can follow his policy guidelines. He can choose not to follow his policy guidelines. And and there's no real consequences he would suffer if he decide not to follow it or if he decide to follow it. However, if it's part of the ordinances, if it's part of the actual municipal codes, and if it's part of the home rule charter, then it becomes a violation of the law. And later on, you'll hear Trey Gist give a very flimsy, fragile excuse to Jules Green that if an employee went out and cut somebody off according to the home rule charter, then that person would have violated the law and could be arrested and sentenced. And so that was his justification for not approving the ordinance put forward by Jules Green. That's very flimsy. That's hanging by a thread. I mean, is
that even true?
Really kind of ludicrous that example he used, but that was the best example they could come up with. That shows you how weak their argument was.
Just an ordinance to add to this, or Levi, and I'd like to recognize him, let him speak on this.
Mr. Goins and I might both talk on it. We have given you what I would call, and I guess this is subject to a little bit from Mr. Gist on whether you can do a substitute ordinance. It's clear reading what Mr. Green asked for, that there's a desire to codify or at least make subject to law an inclement weather policy. In January, for example, we sent our policy, which has been in effect since about 2014. And our policy already codifies the exact language from during an extreme heat defined by the issuance of an NWS heat advisory, residential disconnections shall be suspended. During extreme cold, we had a bunch of cold stuff that they don't always have, but ours is heat and cold. And so what I would say is that the ordinance.
So what he's lying about right now is the source material. The source material was that Texas okay, hold on. My screen went blank. Hold on. What he's talking about is that Texas Public Utility Code that he lifted all this from. None of this is an original idea, except for the parts that I told y'all was the parts that they added. So what he's saying right now is factually incorrect, because he did not add anything. He took which is not an uncommon practice. What he's trying to give off is the illusion that he came up with this all by himself, which that's not true.
That Mr. Green has before the body tonight will take away liberality that our current written policy offers. Let me say that again very clearly. The ordinance offered tonight ratchets back the liberality that our current written, published, and adopted policy has. So I'm going to start there. And it's an easy reason why, because everything in the ordinance Mr. Green proposes is already our written policy, plus we do, and I sent it to you guys in January and texted during those events, texted the members to let them know that we couldn't have cutoffs during those events, even when it's cold, not just because of an NWS cold winter report, but because beyond just the 32-degree 24-hour version, we do one where if we see cold events coming, tailing each other, We don't cut off in between. We consider that one event, and it gives me the liberality to stretch it. So by adopting the ordinance we propose, everything Mr. Green wants, I want y'all to picture a one-way ratchet, a wrench. Everything he wants, you can't do less than, but we still increase the liberality we already, in writing, have had as an administrative policy for years. In addition to that, to make sure that.
Okay, so can I say something? Because he got me on something. I'm kind of, okay. So you had this policy in place in 2014. Y'all got to remember, Jacques Roy came in office originally in 2006, 7, 8. I think he came in. So it took y'all 6 years before you had a policy in place, just a policy in place. So in the meantime, were you turning off people back then without having a policy in place? Because he just admitted that they didn't put it in place until 2014.
Well, it got to make you wonder what was in place before.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another thing that confuses he confused me. He really did. Anybody else get confused? Tell me, raise your hand if you got confused.
No, because what he's trying to say is that because it's a policy and because it's his policy, he's able to do what he wants to
exactly.
Whoever
That's
he
what
wants.
exactly.
But if they adopt what Mr. Jules wanted to adopt, then he wouldn't be able to. He'd be violating the charter if he did what he was doing or what he's been doing, like allowing people to run up $40,000 bills.
But again, okay,
it's
so
the liberalities, baby.
Yeah, but that's where I have an issue at, because if you heard what he said if there's extreme weather happens and then one comes behind this other, that's the only time. If it's gonna be extreme cold weather for a week, a snowstorm comes through and it's a week long, there's no reason for you to say that you're not going to turn them off until that next week. You can say that. So I don't understand where he's saying liberality. That's common sense. That's anybody with a soul and a heart would say, okay, we know we got this terrible snowstorm for a week. We're going to not turn them off until after the week is over with. We're not going to turn it off. But if you you hear what he's saying, it's not making any sense what he's saying, because that's just common. It's common sense. So there's no need for it to be put in a policy. You understand what I'm saying? Because that would be crazy for you to say, okay, we're going to let you stay on for 2 or 3 days, and then we're going to turn you off in the middle of a storm.
Here's the other thing, right? In our discussion, while we were discussing this, the point was brought up that what he's talking about is a policy. What he lifted this from was a municipal code or the Texas Public Utility Code. Yeah. Those are laws. What he has, a policy, isn't a law.
That's right.
And
you're right. He took a code and he put it in his policy manual. He didn't put it in the municipal codes for Alexandria or the home rule charter for Alexandria.
And that's
so
something.
Therefore, what the city council voted on, what they approved, was a policy that goes into his policy manual or his guideline manual. That's what they approved. And the thing is, the city council doesn't have to approve his policies. That's his own policies, how he wants to run his administration and things. Now, if those policies run afoul or violate the city charter or any parish codes, state statutes, or federal laws, then he's in violation. But aside from that, he can establish policies and guidelines how he'd like to run each of his departments. So that's all the city council approved was, okay, these are your guidelines or policies. Okay, great. Go ahead, stick them in your binder. But we don't have anything in the municipal codes or the home rule charter that are subject to law about disconnects. And that's the problem. That's where we fell short.
Yeah, that's where the ball, I don't want to say the ball got dropped, but the understanding was the issue.
And the reason that happened is because he waited until the last minute to submit that to the city council. So they really had to think on their feet. They had a short time to review it. You saw how Chuck Fowler held on to it until the beginning of the committee meeting. He could have passed that out to them earlier if he wanted to. And if they had it since January 26th, they could have sent that to him as well.
He said he put it in a text message.
Yeah, and sent it by email. But yeah, this
or it couldn't have been put inside the binders too. When they go to the binders.
Yep, he could have if he had submitted. And then here's the other thing, that because we couldn't see it, Miss Bell couldn't see it, Miss Finley couldn't see it before they voted on it. We didn't know how similar it was to what Mr. Green submitted or how different it was. So the fact that he calling this a substitute, it's not very similar at all. It's something entirely different. So it should have been introduced and lay over for 2 weeks before they voted on it. But the fact that it went into his policy binder rather than into the municipal codes or the home rule charter, so it has no legal lawful standing. And what we need to do is probably reintroduce Mr. Green's ordinance again and take the language from the Louisiana Public Service and make it part of the Alexandria Municipal Codes and the Home Rule Charter. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to be consistent with the Louisiana Public Service Commission. That's all.
Exactly. And the ideal that he tricked them in a sense. I don't want to say, well, yeah, he did. He manipulated like he always do. His personality shows that. So
no other mayor, no one else in the future or else time could affect any of this negatively. If you look at the proposed ordinance, it also spells out the Article 7 basis, which was missing. It also spells out that the administration, if it makes any modification to the written policies as described to add liberality, is always allowed. So if we want to give more liberality, it can always be allowed, but you have to be notified, and then the council can decide if they like that additional liberality or not, but they have to be notified. But we can never give less without the council approval.
What do you mean liberality?
Liberality would be giving the administration the ability to not cut off due to extenuating or emergent circumstances. So by liberality, I mean always erring on the side of the citizen not being cut off.
but does that make sense, y'all? Do that make sense? Does that make sense? Because the whole purpose of this disconnect is to do exact what the hell?
When somebody used that word, the same word over and over and over, they're trying to insinuate or create a different definition for it.
Yeah.
So he used the word liberality about 20 times already, and I don't know how many more times he will use it before he finally gives up the mic. But, by keep saying it over and over and over again, he's trying to connotate a particular definition of that word. And it's just...
that's the whole point of not turning why do you have to go that in depth when it is basically not to disconnect people in extreme weather. That's it. Am I right? Tell me wrong. Tell me if I need to look deeper or maybe think deeper. So what is all this extras? Anybody can hear me? I mean, does that make any sense what he's saying?
It's he's bloviating. He's bloviating.
He's trying to justify his policy. Because like you said, Mr. Porter, it's not a municipal code. It's not a law. It's not in the home rule charter. It's a policy that it's really for them. It's for his administration. It's not for the city council, and it's not for the citizens. It's for his administration to know, according to utility department, that you can't turn somebody off. It doesn't make any sense because you're adding more and more into it. Just don't turn them off when it's cold or when it's hot. Wait till the weather gets better and then do what you have to do. That's what I'm seeing is simple. Is it not simple like that?
Yeah, it is. And his policy guidelines are not available to the public because, you know, back in 2023, Elizabeth Felter couldn't produce it. Neither could Fowler. Now, they kept harping on the fact that we already have a policy, so we don't need to pass this, but they could never produce the policy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
think
think
they had it since 2014. So
Yeah,
why
I don't
nobody
think-
else saw it?
I don't think the policy was generated until they lifted the policy from the Texas Public Utility municipal codes, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to make sense, y'all. And that's what we're trying to say. Don't take his word for everything out here. And this is why we do this, so that you guys can understand it from a different standpoint. Because what all he's saying, wrapped up in all those words and liberalities and all that stuff, is okay, I make an understanding and I let my people know that I'm not going to turn people off during hot or cold weather if they have a disconnect. But what you'll find out later on, and we're not going to do it tonight because it's getting late, in that policy that he has a lot of stipulations to disconnects. And y'all, when we come back and we break this down, you will see what we're talking about. And we're going to repeat it so you can understand. So in his policy, he has stipulations even when it comes to disconnections.
I don't understand why he's resisting Councilman Green so much.
Really?
Because he is determined to try and show that Mr. Green's ordinance is lacking in several things, and his ordinance is not. And as Tavares pointed out, it's not his ordinance. He lifted it directly from the Texas utility ordinance on weather. So, you know, the fact that he's resisting anything going forward by Mr. Green is it's astounding to me. I truly don't understand it. It would have been so easy just to accept it and say, this is what Louisiana Public Service does. This makes us consistent with them. So great. If the persons was under CLECO, they would come under this set of treatment. But the fact that they're with AUS, they do not. Now we're consistent across the board. It would have been so easy to do. But there's something in his makeup where he simply could not grant that to Councilman Green. I cannot let you get away with this win. You know,
and that's what it is. And if that's his that is his MO. That's what that's his MO, and he's done that in just about everything he's done. Any type of thing that come up, even when you were there, argued against anything that you or anybody else came up with. If he do not want to, and the ideal that he wanted to give it to Fowler, when Fowler didn't even bring it up, it was Green who did it. That to me was almost like a slap in the face. And I know that's not important to other people, but when we're trying to do something, this is why we say, when we're trying to do something for you guys, you see what you're dealing with. You see the roadblocks.
You know,
what they do.
Yeah, it's after the fact now.
Yeah.
But the perfect way this could have played out was if Malcolm and Jules had voted down Fowler's or substitute ordinance. Just vote it down. Say no. From the committee, we will not advance it to the city council body, and then just go forward with Councilman Green's his ordinance, and then let Jack Roy veto it. You know,
Yeah,
Jack Roy certainly would have vetoed it.
sure would have.
And then it would have come back, and they would not have been able to override the veto because they would not have gotten a fifth vote. And then we just hang that around his neck, along with all the other things, you know.
He didn't. It was almost like he felt that Jules Green kind of showed him up with a policy that's on his books and not on the city council books or on the books for the Whole Moon Charter.
Yeah, I feel that he was upset because the ordinance put forward by Jules Green forced Jack Roy to do something. He had to do something now, see? And he didn't like the idea that he was forced to do something.
Exactly.
And that something had to be better to where it wipes Jules Green name off of everything.
That's right.
And that what he's putting forward doesn't even resemble what Jules Green had put forward. You know, from the title to the context to all sorts of stuff.
Yes. We're going to talk more about this. We'll probably do it Friday, bring it back up Friday, because it's getting late. It's already 11:18. But I definitely want to dig into this. And then Tavares also bring that back up so we can look at that and dig into what we see, the comparison of what he wrote into what the Texas municipal law is for their utilities. And you'll see what we're talking about, you guys, because it's kind of hard to do it. Everybody's probably tired, ready to go to bed. But yeah, we need to really dig into this because this is going to be very important going forward with how we need to start watching more on how job moves. You know, we talk about that all the time. But this is important because, again, we have elections coming up. And if we're taking apart and seeing what he's doing now, he hasn't changed because, as you can see, he's been the same person throughout the time that he's been in this office. And like I said, I think his original time he was elected was in 2006 or 8. I can't remember which one it was. But he's been doing this. And the idea that he did not have anything in place till 2014 is really mind-boggling. That means 6 years. What were y'all doing? Were y'all turning off people in those 6 years before you, quote unquote, came up with this invisible policy that nobody else saw or nobody else knew about? You know, so I mean, it's really something to think about because he's very diabolical, y'all. I don't know. I'm just saying, to go to the lengths that he did to create this just so that Greens would look smaller to him, that's narcissism. That's narcissism. He did not want to feel like he had to bow down or concede to what Mr. Green was doing. And that's this is something he does. And it's almost like an oppressive, a very oppressive way he does us. And that's why it's important that we pay attention. You're either going to want different, or you're going to get him back in there and let him continue doing what he's been doing. And that's up to y'all. So we're going to bring this back. But Wednesday, we're going to be watching, if everything works out, we're going to be watching Roots That Bind Us. Okay? And then we're going to, hopefully we'll be able to talk after it's over with. Okay? So I'm going to say good night to everybody before y'all go. Don't go nowhere yet.
Yeah,
So
before you close out,
Sure.
I have been spending the day reviewing the 5 constitutional amendments on the ballot for
Okay.
May 16th.
Okay.
Just in case a lot of you don't have the time to try and go through all of that. So one time, Salita, maybe we can discuss what's on those state constitutional
We do,
amendments,
definitely.
and I can share my input,
Okay.
and everyone can make their own decisions, and I can offer my recommendations as well. But that's something we need to do, because the mail-in ballots have already arrived at people's homes. So this would be a good time to go over that with folks.
Okay, so if we don't have anything scheduled for Friday, we can do it Friday.
Okay.
Okay,
All
we'll
right.
put that
That's-
on the schedule for Friday.
All right.
So you
that's
guys
Good
make sure you're
Friday. I don't know how many folks are devout worshipers of Lent, but yes, Friday sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. So, Miss Battles, thank you. Mr. Turner, thank you. Miss Bell, thank you. Miss King, thank you. Let's see here. Mr. Scott, thank you. Miss Jackson, thank you. Miss Washington, thank you. Miss Smith, thank you. Sankofa, thank you. Let's see who else came in. Let's see, who else did I see on here? Miss Breeze, we gotta talk. We all got, you know what, you guys, we gotta talk. We hadn't been over talking in our other group. Thank you, Miss Breeze. Let's see who else was on here. Oh, Miss Angelique, Miss Susan, thank you. Miss Finley, why didn't you come up on the stage? You and Mr. Turner. Okay. Let's see here. Who else is on here? I want to make sure I get everybody. Oh, Miss Colson. I saw Miss Colson come in. Yes. And I got Miss Bell. Yes. Miss Colson says she received hers today.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So I am going to thank you, Mr. Porter, for you coming in. Thank you, Mr. Tavares. Your check is going to be in the mail. So you have any last words? Anybody else have any last words?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Porter, you got any last words?
No, just everyone have a good night.
Okay, I got you, Miss Finley. All right, so see you guys later. See you guys Wednesday night, my little crew. I'll see you guys Wednesday night at 7:00, just before we come on. Okay, so you guys have a great evening, and bye-bye.
Good night.